Hello and welcome to Agenda from Bengaluru. The air we breathe could be killing us. We're sitting in a nice, clean, air-conditioned room, but that doesn't really mean much. Inside or outside, air quality in this country is not good. What does give some hope is the fact that the ordinary citizen, residents of our cities, are really concerned about this too, and are not just leaving it to the authorities. We're at an event organized by I Change Indiranagar, a group of residents' welfare associations determined to make a difference when it comes to what we are breathing. To start with, what is the situation in the country? Mahesh Kashyap, consultant, we talk about, oh, the air is not clean, air pollution is there, but what are the figures really? What is the situation right now in the country?
Right now, because there is a lot of air pollution in India, especially in the cities, and Tier 2, Tier 3 cities are also catching up very fast. And especially when you see cities like Delhi, Gwalior, and Bengaluru, there's a lot of pollution. Especially in Bengaluru, it has increased a lot in the last 7 to 8 years.
It has?
Yes.
Why is that? Is it the number of vehicles or?
Right now, as per the Pollution Control Board, vehicles are the main pollutants. So one of the things we are doing a lot of monitoring by the government. What's missing is who is polluting how much. That is missing.
That data is not
there.
That
data is not there.
Okay.
The last time it was done was based on the 2007 data.
Yes.
And it was only, we had 25 lakh vehicles and 99 wards. Right now, it's close to 68 lakhs vehicles and 198 wards. Things have changed. We have added tens of thousands of DG sets, and a lot of old vehicles are on the road.
Yeah, because generators with the power problems the state is facing, generators are always on.
Absolutely. DG sets, if you go to City Market, Kalasipalli and all, there's you can smell it.
Yes.
You can smell when there's no power. So those are the main sources. What we are missing is who is polluting how much and what, because we want to know what's coming out, what are the pollutants coming out. We have a lot of monitoring data. What do you do with this?
Absolutely. This data, you're saying this data is missing. What data is being recorded? What is being measured right now?
Only the monitoring data is being measured by the monitoring stations. State is operating 2 continuous monitoring stations, and Central Pollution Control Board is monitoring. They have 3 continuous monitoring stations. Others are manual. Their data somehow I'm not, professionally speaking, I'm not that much comfortable using the data. So the 5 continuous monitoring data, I think it's not enough for the city. Now we have all the data. Now what do we do?
Across the entire city.
Entire city.
The city of 10 million people, and it's a huge city, isn't it?
Yes,
it's an 800 square kilometers.
720 square kilometer. 5 is not enough. We need more data. We need more monitoring stations, I should say, so that it will get all the data. Now the question would come, what do we do with the data?
Absolutely.
We call it as big data in technological terms. So what do we do with the big data? How do we make the decisions? Because if somebody is collecting the data on 100 feet road in Indiranagar, now what? What do we do with this? What is causing pollution? How much is the vehicles are emitting? How much the eateries are emitting? Because all the eateries are completely left out. And when you deep fry in a lot, there is a lot of particulate matter coming out. So a lot of eateries in the area.
Yes, so many different local factors really.
Absolutely.
And this data, we're generating a whole lot of this data, but how is this data being shared and used? Priyank, Pallavi Pant, you're with a researcher with University of Massachusetts at Amherst. So tell us, Pallavi, is this data being shared? Is it reaching people who can do something with it?
So the data that is generated as part of the National Ambient Monitoring Program is shared as long as it's a continuous air quality monitoring station. So where we have about 650 monitoring stations across the country, and out of that about 50 are continuous monitoring stations. And the data from those stations is published on the CPCB website, and anyone can go to the website and access the data, download it.
If they know about it. And
if they know about
internet
it.
savvy.
Exactly. The government also started the Air Quality Index a few years ago, AQI, and they have an app where you can actually access the information. But as far as I'm aware, the user friendliness of the app is not very high. And also, not as many people know that the app even exists. Or where do we go for?
Has anyone here downloaded that app? No, nothing. And you're all concerned about pollution, but even though you're all concerned about, it's the awareness, I think, is not coming across.
The government does have some programs which try to do things to create more awareness or to generate the data and share it, but it's just not done in a manner that it reaches the people.
Absolutely.
And the other government institution that also works on this as part of a Ministry of Earth Sciences program is the SUFFER program. They have been relatively more active, so they do a lot of interaction with the media as well, issuing health advisories when the weather, when the particulate matter goes really high. They also have an app that you can download, and it's currently available only in 4 cities. So hopefully they will expand to other cities, but for now, that's what we have.
We have Bengaluru being measured in 5 stations and all that. What is the situation like in Bengaluru? Are we okay? Are we bad? Are we terrible? Are we, what's...
Right now, Bengaluru situation is getting kind of out of control when it comes to air pollution. So because as she mentioned about air quality index, the way it is measured, because when the air quality index is measured, it's for an area, for example, Indiranagar, that's a 100-feet road. That doesn't mean the areas 100 meters away has the same bad air or good air.
You need definitely more local monitoring. Yes. Pratima Singh, research scientist with C-STEP. We all know, we all agree, the situation is not good. Now, this comes a lot to policies, public policies, state government policies, central government policies. Are there good policies in place?
Yes, there are few policies. I wouldn't say there are many policies, but the problem with that is that they are not getting implemented on ground root level. Okay. Apart from that, we need to humanize data so that people can understand what these air quality values mean. We can see in Delhi, we can see there are different stations where you can see what is the air quality level on that particular day. But what does that mean? What does that say? We don't know that. Researchers, scientists who are working on this sector, they will definitely know. But what about the common people?
We see a number.
Exactly.
A 400 or 300, but what does it mean to us actually? What does it mean?
Where does that number fall? Which category? What action needs to be taken? Like in China, if a particular day has a high level of air pollution, they have proper measures for that, which we don't have.
What would the measures be? For example, let us say it's really a bad day. What would the measures be?
Shut down the schools. Okay, the transportation, buses or cars, they will be removed from the road. These are kind of measures that are taken there, which we need to implement that in our country. We need to come up with proper action plan for every category, which we are lacking behind.
I mean, these are like drastic measures, shutting schools, taking transportation off the road. But we are in that situation, aren't we? Like a city like Delhi is as bad, if not worse, as, say, Beijing. We are in that situation, right? It's not China which is the problem. So do we need this kind of drastic solutions, really?
Definitely we need. And the problem is that we need to put air pollution into a very comprehensive manner, not only sectoral, because there are different sectors that are impacting the air pollution, like thermal power plants or biomass burning or different other sectors, transportation. But the problem is that we just focus on one sector. Okay, transport, that's the major problem, you know. Take off the vehicles off the road.
Or even numbers was one of the suggestions, yes.
But we need to focus on industries as well that are creating this pollution.
A multi-pronged approach, really,
yes, so
to attack many things.
That we need to focus on right now.
Okay. That really needs to be done, and it's not happening. We need to take those drastic measures, probably.
I just want to add that the action plan that you mentioned for China, last year when we had the air pollution episode in Delhi in November, the government or the courts actually mandated the government to come up with a graded action plan, which was generated by the Central Pollution Control Board. But then the entire winter passed, and the plan was not actually implemented because they were waiting for approvals to happen, and that didn't just come through. So we went through the entire winter. We had an action plan which might have helped on certain days, but it didn't. And at least Delhi has seen days when schools have been shut down because the air pollution level is just so bad that kids cannot go to school.
I mean, what a situation, what a situation.
So that is the thing, we work on problems when we actually face problems.
We wait till it happens.
Yes, so for Bangalore, we need to be prepared when that situation comes.
We may not be at the Delhi level yet, but we are
Yes.
getting there. We're getting there. Bhavik Latia, your campaign manager with Jhatka.org. And are people aware? It's like when we see dirty black smoke, we say, coming out of a vehicle, we say, oh, that's pollution. Yeah. Or if we find ourselves coughing a lot, like I do, if I'm visiting Delhi, I come back and I cough a lot. Yeah. We react when we see something happening, but is public awareness about this life and death issue enough? Do people know at large, is there public awareness about this issue?
I think that's a great question. And earlier you had asked, are we at the Beijing levels yet? So one thing I want to state is 5 of the 20 most air polluted cities in the world are in India. 2 Indians die every minute as a result of air pollution. And so look, I don't think we have to ask ourselves, are we at the China levels? We are there, we've surpassed it. Look, I'm not going to paint a glossy picture. We have a long ways to go when it comes to public awareness. But overall, I'm really optimistic. And the reason I'm optimistic is, so Jhatka is a public mobilization group. We use digital and cell phone technologies to engage with people because we know increasingly, right, people are
on their phones.
On these guys. And we launched a platform about 2 months ago called Air Alert. You can find it at airalert.in, where anybody, anywhere in the country can start a local campaign to address air pollution in their communities.
Okay, so like taking it local.
Taking it local. And so the optimism, where that comes from is in that time, we've had dozens of people step up to start campaigns. Okay. We've had over 2 lakh people across India take action on air pollution campaigns. And this isn't just signing petition signatures, this is advocating on social media, this is, showing up to protests. We had an event here in Bangalore a few weeks ago called Marahaba, which is a celebration of Bangalore's trees, which is also, in my opinion, very related to air pollution.
Of course it is. I mean,
300 people showed up.
Wow.
So that gives me a lot of optimism.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Upendra Bhujani, Assistant Director of the Institute of Public Health here. We all know, okay, this may be bad for us, too many cars, polluted cars, diesel cars, but it's not always easy, even for the government, to implement certain policies. There are strong lobbies, right, who just want to keep going as they're going because they're looking at their short-term profit and not thinking about the health of the rest of us. What kind of lobbies are we tackling here?
Well, data is important, what you talk, but I think that's one of the input. I think the whole process of bringing down air pollution is as much or more political than just to be informed by data or science. And what comes out clearly is that the genesis of air pollution and its solutions lies in different sectors. And there are various stakeholders in these sectors, you might call them lobbies maybe, whose interest may not be fairly aligned with the interest of reducing air pollution. And these are several. For example, take
selling a diesel car would not want restrictions on diesel cars. Yeah.
Take Bengaluru, for example. What we know is that the smoking, cigarette smoking or bidi smoking, say indoor in restaurants, is known to increase indoor air pollution. But there has been tremendous resistance from the lobby in terms of making smoke-free Bengaluru or removing hookah bars and stuff like that. The other issue, for example, we know that the waste burning, the garbage burning, which happens in Bangalore quite often, is one of the big source of outdoor air pollution. But then it's actually easier for the contractors sort of to rather dispose and burn something there than to sort of invest in transporting it to the appropriate places. So I guess there are many such sectors where some of the commercial interests may not readily align with this whole interest of reducing air pollution. So I think we as citizens really need to acknowledge that and engage and hopefully change that equation, I think. It's not just to blame governments all the time.
Huge role that citizens have to play, and this group here, this residents group here also, you're doing your bit as well. Yes.
So Maya, I learned actually there were 2 very disturbing data points that I came to know of. One of them is who reports, the World Health Organization reports 1 death due to air pollution every 23 seconds. And we were blissfully unaware of it. The second is, while we were talking about measurements and monitoring, I also learned in an experiment conducted near Pina Industrial Estate. I believe the monitors, professor tells us, was set up at about a height of 15 feet. I mean, they're measuring it, and they actually give you a number. So, for instance, the number that was quoted is 75 microns. But I believe the exposure, the actual exposure of an average human being in that area is 400 microns. So, what are you measuring?
So, citizens concerned, certainly air pollution, a hugely important issue. We've looked at different factors. After a short break, we'll come back and look at solutions which we as citizens can implement on a local level. That's after a short break.